Hello everybody, welcome to Philosophy 15, Major World Religions. This is an online course. My name is Professor Andrea DM, and when you open up the course on Moodle, this is what it will look like. There's a few links up here, which is our forums, introduction forum, help forum, classroom forum, our syllabus, and then the online orientation you've listened to right now. So let me walk you through these links really quickly and then introduce you to each of the weeks. And I hope to make this presentation in 10 to 15 minutes and no longer. The syllabus is something that you need to read on your own. And if you open it up, you'll see there's information about how to contact me, and it's mainly through my email. You can also, besides emailing me, you could use the help forum. And the help forum is there available for you to ask any questions. If a link's not working, when is something due? How do I find this? When is a research project due? Whatever questions you have, you put first. I prefer you to put it in the help forum so I can answer it there and other people can benefit from it. But if it's more personal, then go ahead and email me. And then here's the course syllabus. And it's these various links, and to read through these. The first 7 I say right here pay special attention to. The college policies are right out of Mount SAC. Catalog, frequently asked questions is probably pretty important to look into. Expectations, how to do well. But the first 7 you are really supposed to examine thoroughly. And professor's information, it tells you about my role in the class and my background of both in terms of education and also in terms of teaching, course description and outline, and that a lot of that comes out of the catalog, but it also how I set the class up. And I set the class up as part 1, Eastern religions, and part 2, Western religions, and then what's due each week and so forth. And again, I'll walk you through that. The readings for this class, this is where it gets a little confusing, but what I wanted to say to you is that I'm not assigning one very large world religions textbook that costs like $100, $150 with one author. Instead, I'm using a variety of different academic sources, and some of them are small articles that are embedded within the lesson plans, and those will be, of course, free. And some of them are small books, and when I mean small books, like 1 to 2 hours to complete, and they're available to you in one of 3 ways. My first choice, and the one I highly recommend, is through Audible. And if you did Audible, again, you'd be purchasing it, but all for under $20. And the value of that is somebody who reads the book to you. You could sit in your car with your iPhone on the Audible book that you downloaded, and you could listen to the book as you're driving. And in 1 to 2 hours, you've completed a very important assignment. And it's really neat to have somebody read material to you. So it's so much better than reading off the computer. Here's the Amazon hard copy of the material, and then here's the PDF links. If you don't mind reading off the computer, a lot of people say, well, I want the free route, but the Audible is the absolute best in my opinion. Okay, so moving back here, then the class policies, and it's a breakdown of the grades in the class. So it tells you like part 1 is 30%, part 2 is 30%, you have a research project, you have a post to do, and the grade breakdown. So it really walks you through that. And that's something, again, it would take some time to go through right now. So I'd like you for sure to go through that on your own. Post work, the class is set up as 12 lesson plans, and each lesson plan is a different topic. So for instance, an introduction to religious studies, or there's a lesson plan on Hinduism, there's a lesson plan on Buddhism, there's a lesson plan on Jainism and Sikhism and so forth. And so for each lesson plan, there is films to watch, reading to complete, a little mini lecture to listen to, and a post question. And so there are 12 lesson plans, there's 12 essay posts. An essay post is approximately, although it can exceed this, approximately 1 page. There's 2 bullet points to address, and I give you that post question in the lesson plan, and having completed the work, not just writing your opinion on it, but having completed the work, to write some analytical response to the material addressing that question. So the post work is due each week. As we complete 2 lesson plans a week, there's 2 essay posts due a week. Then in addition to those essay posts, which are worth 20% of your grade for the whole course, for 10%, there's what's called participation, interaction, effort posts. I call them pie posts. And to complete 12 of those through the course. And so that would be, again, 1 per lesson plan. And what a pie post is, it's an easy way to get points. It's 10% of your grade. I'm super generous on this. It's just showing that you're interacting. And so you read another student's essay post, for example, and you want to write a response back to them. That would be a pie post. So you click reply to somebody's post and you write back. Or you found a really cool film you want to share with the class, and so it relates to world religions, of course. It's not just about, a dog surfing on the beach, but that's pretty obscure. I don't know why I thought of that one. But just some interesting material on world religions you wanted to share, It could be a long film, a short film. So you put up the link, you explain it and what you thought about it. That could be a pie post. Or you found a great article. There's some new interesting current event happening in the world relating to world religions. So there's so much material you can use for pie posts. It's just showing effort, involvement, interest in world religions. And I'm going to grade those as generously as possible. So it's a way to boost your grade. I'm trying to think if there's anything missing on that. So the pie posts, you want to do them throughout the semester, not all at once. So as you're doing a lesson plan, complete one pie post. And you can do more. It could be extra credit if you did more than the 12 required. Okay. Website creation, that explains how to create one, why to create one, what to include in it. And all this means is that in the very first week, no later than the first couple days into the second week, to create a website. And the website, how to create it, they're all free website providers. I have a film to show you, walk you through how to create it. It is a few minutes to do, and the value of it's significant for this class because I have 150 online students of ethics and 2 world religions. I need your work to be in a nice, neat package or portfolio, and that's what your website is. It's a fancy way to say your portfolio of your work. And so if you have a website, you can use that, but if you don't have one, to create one, and you put on there, eventually, by the end of part 1, you put on there your post work that you've done, so I don't have to hunt through Moodle to find it. It's really easy for you to pull up all your work and with one command and all. I have directions how to do that in the syllabus. But for you to do that, and then also your pie post work, and then eventually your research projects can go on there, and your exam scores are going to go on there. So all of your work is represented in one package, and you send that package to me at the end of part 1 of the course, and that's again like July 8 through 10, and the end of part 2 at the very end of the semester, which is July 27th through 29th. Expectations, how to do well in the class, college policies, and frequently asked questions. When we get down here, it talks about the key dates for the term, and it says when the class begins, when to add, when to get the refund, when to drop without a W or with a W. But the yellow here is your midterm week material and your final material. There's no one midterm exam. I used to do that. I've changed this course this semester, so there's no one midterm exam. There's no cumulative final exam. Rather, you're doing these Moodle tests. You do a Moodle quiz, test, exam, whatever you want to call it, after 2 lesson plans. And it covers those 2 lesson plans. So altogether, there's 6 for the semester, 3 for part 1, 3 for part 2. And you collect those scores and all your post work and everything, and you put it onto your website and send me the link. So at this time, in those 3 days, you just send me a link. Okay, and that's it. You don't have to send me individual emails for all that stuff. Okay, clicking out of that. So we walked through the syllabus quickly. Introduction forms to introduce yourself to your classmates and to me, and to respond to 3 to 5 classmates. 5 would be good, but 3 minimum, and or more. One time I had a student respond to everybody, and that was super impressive, but I bet that took her a lot of time. So the introduction form is active only the first week, so make sure in the first few days of the term that you introduce yourself, because the form pretty much closes after a week. It's for us to get to know each other a little bit. Help form, I explain that. If you have a question, post it there first before you email me, and I'll respond within 24 hours for sure. Classroom forum is where our posts go. These are our essay posts and your pie posts. And again, this is kind of a redo of what's in the syllabus, but it explains it one more time in case you're confused. To post, you just add a new discussion. To respond to a student, you just click reply. Okay, and there you put your pie post and your essay post. All posts go there, except for help, questions, and introduction the first week. Okay, week 1, part 1 of this course. It's Introduction to Religious Studies, and it's explaining really, you have a reading assignment, some films to watch. It explains that this is not a theology class. We're not asking theological questions about the existence of God. It explains that this is an academic study of the world religions. Okay, and then there'll be a study guide. It will cover 2 lesson plans. These are the 2 lesson plans right here. These are the topics. There'll be a study guide for week 1 material, and then there'll be a quiz on it, and the quiz is due. I always give you Friday 8 a.m. to Sunday night, midnight. But if the test takes, say, 30 minutes, you want to make sure you start it way before midnight because it closes at midnight. So if you start the test like 2 minutes to midnight, it will close in 2 minutes. You allow yourself that time there. So you have 3 days to take that. And then week 2 is Hinduism. And you can say Jainism or Jainism. In America, we say Jainism, but really it's pronounced Jainism. And the study guide as well, and the test on those 2 lesson plans. Hinduism and Sikhism. Again, Sikhism or Sikhism. There's the American way and the correct way, but I'm happy either or. And we have the study guide, the Moodle exam on it. And then what's called the midterm material. And if you click on that, you'll see there's not really a midterm exam. There's directions how to send me your website, what to include on it. And then there's feedback questions. And the feedback questions are like, how many posts have you completed? How much time did you spend on the lesson plan? But the most important, well, there's a few important questions. There's only 6 of them, but there's one really important one about what research project you plan to do. Because this course requires you to visit a religious location outside completely of your umbrella religion or your family's umbrella religion, and to be of an Eastern background. So why I chose Eastern is around Mount Sac, there are and even if you're not living in Mount Sac, you're living in Nebraska or something, there are beautiful locations for you to visit. And you would just, if you're not living near Mount Sac, because I give locations to you in the syllabus under the research link, but if you're living somewhere else, you just Google it. But around Mount Sac, there's in Chino Hills, one of the most beautiful Hindu temples made out of marble, and it's carved, and it's just like being transported to India. They have services to attend, and I'd like to attend a service of some sort. There's a Buddhist temple in Hacienda Heights. There's a Sikh temple near Mount Sac. They have services on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings. There's the Hare Krishna temple. I mean, there's so much variety around Mount San Antonio College in the local area, and your job is to go explore that and expose yourself to something very different. Because we're Westerners in a Western country, I wanted to expose you to something different. That would be Eastern. If you have a Hindu background, if you have a Buddhist background, you cannot choose your own religion. Even if your family's that and you're not, it's still in your umbrella background. So explained a little bit there. Having completed part 1, you head to part 2. And part 2 is when you actually start your field trip. Your field trip, you just tell me about what you're planning on doing in that feedback questions. And then part 2, actually then pursue it. And you pursue it week 4 and 5, and that's it. Because week 6, your material's due way before even the weekend. It's due by that Friday. So most of the services are on the weekend. So for week 4, part 2, it's the Introduction to Islam and Mystical Sufism from Islam. A lot of students don't realize there's this beautiful mystical branch. Judaism and Biblical Scholarship, and that's fascinating. And Christianity and Biblical Scholarship. And in this Biblical Scholarship, we're going to be looking at a quest for the historical Jesus, like who he was, the Jesus of history versus the Christ of faith, and just kind of exploring scholarship around discovering who Jesus was, and what languages he spoke and what he taught and that kind of stuff. So that's an interesting one. So again, this breaks the course up into the 6 weeks. I'm trying to think what else I have to show you. 2 more things and I'm done. If you open up the lesson plan for part 1, this is what it will look like. It explains that the course is 54 hours on campus for 6 weeks. So at home, it needs to match that, but you'll probably be completed in less than probably 7 to 9. I think I said 8 to 9, but it's probably more 7 to 9. The first lesson plan takes about 3 hours. When you open up the lesson plan, they always follow this format of lecture, reading, film, and post. And I break down. Students always tell me this is more or less accurate, the breakdown of the time. This is lesson plan 2, lesson plan 3 and 4, and scrolling down 5 and 6. I don't have a complete lesson plan on Chinese religions. I used to have 16 lesson plans, and then I moved down to 14, 15, 14, 13. Now I'm down to 12. And so I had to eliminate some lesson plans. So I had one on Taoism, one on Confucianism. It was just too much. We were studying so much in a world religions class. So I tried to streamline this course and still give you exposure. So there'll be a little bit on Chinese religions there and a couple questions on your Moodle quiz on that. Okay, that's what part 1 looks like. And if you go down to the Western religions, part 2, looks similar here, but we cover different topics. And there's your lesson plans. So again, you open up the lesson plan. You're going to get the post question. You're going to get the films, the reading, the lecture, and even notes. I always have notes for my students. So I'm just showing you an example. So these are some notes that I hand my on-campus students, and I also have it for you guys. Okay, clicking out of all of this now, getting back to the main page. I think that concludes my introduction. If you have any questions, feel free, absolutely free, to post in the help forum or email me, but first choice help forum, and enjoy the course. If there's any problems, let me know. This course, again, last statement I wanted to say, is not a course that's appropriate for us to push our religion on other students, or for me to push my position, or you guys to push yours. It's one for us to explore the world religions as scholars of religions, as historians, as anthropologist, and so forth. So in that spirit, I'd like to say welcome to the class and namaste, everybody.